Hey everyone, welcome to another book review. And today I have chosen this book, Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, for the review. This book is very close to my heart, and the reason why I have picked up this book today is because it has inspired me in a number of ways. And people who know me personally knows that I have recently started this habit of running, and the inspiration of running came from this book itself. So I have chosen this book to begin the review of today. So let's just start. This book, Shoe Dog, is basically a memoir on Nike's journey from the beginning, and you all must be really aware about this brand. And it's the world's largest producer of sports equipment and world's largest supplier of athletic shoes. And the journey of Nike started in 1964 with two people, Bill Bowerman, the coach himself, and his student, Phil Knight. And the original name of this company was Blue Ribbon Sports, and they changed the name of the company to Nike in 1978. And this is the brand we all know today. So Phil started selling shoes from the boot of his car in at a very young age in 1990s. And fast forward to 2023, guess what's the revenue of this company? It's $187 billion. I mean, the journey which has started from a boot of the car and building a company worth $187 billion, the journey must be magnificent in its own. And there comes my first learning from this book, that no matter how crazy, how out of the box ideas you have to just believe in it and you have to pursue it with all of your heart. And no one knows what can happen till one tries, right? So yeah, this small instance explains the importance of not giving up and believing in your ideas. The other instance that I would like to quote from this book is about the time when the author went to Japan to place his first order of shoes, and and just guess the time, how much time it took for his first consignment to be delivered. How much time will you wait for your first consignment to be delivered? Like 1 year, to 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 8 months? Well, it took more than a year. Well, it took it precisely a year, I'll say, precisely a year for his first consignment to be delivered. And the author waited for a year. And that's the most astounding part of it. Waiting for a year involves lots of ups and downs. The feeling of restlessness grows up, and you start disbelieving in your own ideas. But he waited patiently because he had this faith in his own idea that no, it is gonna work. So there comes my second lesson from this book, and that is, if you are planning, if you are just eyeing on something which is like, if you're planning to play in the long run, you need to have you need to have an habit of extremely patient. I mean, patience is the key here. You're playing in the long run. You need to remind yourself that, and that is the reason you have to be extremely patient. Why? Because good things always take time, right? So yeah, patience is the key. Let's talk about another few instances. And so you all must have heard about this phrase that even like ups and downs are the parts of the life, and even a straight line in an ECG means you're dead. Let's rate this phrase with this book. What happened is ki, this was the very beginning of the brand Nike in the market, and it was facing a lot of competition from its competitors. Like the existing brands Adidas, Puma were all there in the market, and Nike was having a very hard time getting through it, getting into the market. And so at that time, the team members, the founders, the co-founders, and the people who were there in the team, they just showed perseverance, and the team worked relentlessly, and for 8 years they doubled their growth. I mean, double their growth every year. which is something really extraordinary. I'll tell you why. I did some fact checking on Google and I found out that merely 15 to 45% of growth rate is expected when a 15 to 45% growth bracket is there, and that only company can grow every year. But the astounding part of Nike's journey is that it doubled its growth rate every year, and that too for 8 straight years. That's something really extraordinary. So, in the words of the founder, when I was reading the book, there was this line said by Phil Knight that if you don't grow, you'll cease to exist. And that's exactly true. Whether you try to apply that thing in your personal life, in your career, the importance of growth, it's something that we need to keep an eye on. If we don't grow, we'll just die. So the third lesson is we need to grow. We need to grow, and that growth must be consistent. And that consistency can only come if we just step out of our comfort zone and just push ourselves out of the comfort zone. So that's my third learning from this book. Another instance, which was very, actually, I was really able to relate with my own life, was that the risk taking attitude that is mentioned in every single chapter of this book. The risk taking attitude in every chapter, in everything that Phil has done, everywhere he has just broken the rules and took really big risk. And how was I able to relate it to my personal life? I have taken a lot of risk, and not on that scale, but yes, I'm talking about my career, so yes, I will treat that as a risk. So I am a science graduate. I have pursued BSc in physics, and my aspirations was completely different from that. I never wanted to do something in science. I was always a UPSC aspirant, and as you all know, that it includes the study of the subject like humanities and all, political science and everything. So the graduation subjects were entirely different from the thing that I really wanted to pursue, and that was the first risk I ever took in my life without knowing that I'm taking a risk. And so I gave UPSC and I cleared the prelims and I set for the mains, but I couldn't clear it by a few marks. But reaching to mains, I mean, that is actually some sort of achievement in itself, because not everyone gets to write the mains exam. So if you compare it with the example of climbing Mount Everest, so according to some people, reaching the top of the Everest will be an achievement, will be the success. But for some people, the base camp, just reaching the base camp will be a parameter of success. So if you are able to relate to that, then just kudos. Otherwise, so I was talking about the risk-taking factor. And after that, I couldn't clear the whole of the UPSC thing. And after that, I just gave one attempt to it. And I decided that I will not give another year to it. Not because it's not worth it, but because I wanted to explore other areas also. And then I tried to turn to software development. And for 1.5 years, I worked as a front-end engineer. And that field was entirely different. I have never liked computer science at all. And here I was just coding things, and it was every day I used to feel so good about myself that okay girl, you were someone who was afraid of coding, and now you're doing the same thing. So that was another risk, transitioning from career completely into humanities to software development. And it's been 1.5 years. Great. And after that, again, I'm transitioning. Most of the folks will say that this girl has gone insane, but I'm that sort of girl, not everything, I don't have everything figured out yet. I'm just figuring out. So again, I'm transitioning to product management. That's yet another risk I'm taking. I believe in myself, and that is the risk and that is because I'm taking this risk. So this is something, although this is my life, it's on a very small scale, but the risk taking factor mentioned in this book is vast. I mean, he has broken the rules like anything. So that was one thing that I was able to relate very well. uh, yeah, so I'll just relate this risk taking. I'll just give you an example how this risk taking factor fits into this book. So at that time, Nike was very new to the market, and guess what was new? Basketball and Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan was a very untested player at that time. He was just starting his career into basketball, and Nike saw something in him. Okay, Nike saw something in Michael Jordan, and that time Michael Jordan was not the Michael Jordan that we know today, and he was just starting his career, and they took a bet on Jordan. They took a bet on him, and they signed their first Air sneakers. They signed their first Air sneakers with Jordan, and recently, by signing the deal with Air Jordan line of sneakers with him, broke a lot of opportunities for Nike, and the company actually established by signing the deal with Jordan. The company established itself as a great foot in athletic footwear industry, and this was a huge risk taking factor, actually getting to get some results. So this is one such example of taking risk, betting on a player who is not yet ready, who hasn't played much of the games, and just seeing something in him, believing in him, and just taking the risk on that. And that risk played in numerous different beautiful ways. So that was my lesson number 4, that break rules, take risk. And not always it's gonna work, but yes, actually you won't have to just feel like I didn't tried it. One last thing I'll like to mention here is one instance which was really great. And what happened is that the Nike's largest revenue player, like Onitsuka, they terminated their they terminated their contract. Yeah, they terminated their contract, leaving the company with no source of revenue. What Nike did then? I mean, imagine you are a company who's just getting on its feet, and the one uh, the one supplier of revenue, the one source of revenue is just gone. And what will you do then? They pivoted, and they made their own distribution chain. They started manufacturing their own line of shoes. They got their own manufacturing thing played, and they just pivoted. I mean, with this, like, the leaving Onitsuka means the whole source of revenue of Nike was gone. The team was just, it was the it was like hitting the rock bottom for Nike, in the words of the author himself. And it was just like that, hitting the rock bottom. But they actually bounced very well back. They pivoted, they made everything on their own, and it's just beautiful the way it is, right? I mean, there comes a time in life when we feel like we have lost everything, and yet that stray of hope just keeps alive in us, and we just need to figure out that yes, that belief is there and we can make it work. So that's the last lesson I would like to I mean, there are a lot of instances to quote from this book. This book is amazing for someone who is just starting their career into entrepreneurship, or who is just starting to get their life back on track, and just building some new habits, or the person who is lost and not sure what to do next in their life, and very afraid to start, I'll say. And this book can be the game changer, I'll say. And reading someone's journey, how they started, gives you a lot of motivation, gives you a lot of heads up, and actually it helps you in understanding um, what path actually you are paving for yourself. So, for all those folks who are looking for some motivation to start, or looking for getting their life back on track, just do give a read to this, and you will be shocked by the amount of value this book holds. So, yeah, this was all about the review, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.